I've been really feeling like somebody needs some guidance this week, especially with the astrology of this coming Saturday. So let's pull some tarot about it. And usually whenever I do these videos, like these tarot videos, usually because I feel like either I need guidance or I feel like the universe has a message, right? Or something has a message. But this week I've been specifically feeling like instead of it being like someone has a message or the universe has a message, some guide has a message or something like that, God has a message, instead it's been like someone's like, I need guidance. And I don't know if I've been just like connecting with their energy or whatever it is, or maybe it's just a general, like the general collective is needing guidance right now, especially with the full moon, Libra full moon, happening this Saturday at the same time as Venus is ending its retrograde, just after Mercury ending retrograde. So, you know, maybe it's got something to do with that, but we're going to pull some tarot about it and see what we can find. And if this message aligns with you, it will find you. If it doesn't align, keep scrolling. It costs $0 to mind your own business. Before we get into the tons of cards that came out, they were like begging to come out, sliding out. I don't know if you heard it, but they were sliding out before I stopped recording. But before I get into this, I heard very clearly right after I stopped recording, like the roar of a crowd, like cheering. And I heard like an announcer say, "Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've been waiting for." You are in situations that were not serving you, obviously. I feel like this is probably going to be a very specific group of people who have been following me on this journey, because I feel like this is the continuation of a journey that we've been reporting on for the past like 2 years. But you were in a situation that was not aligned with you. It was not bringing out your highest self, right? But the problem with it was that you did not want it to end. You were afraid for it to end, because who would want to face that heartbreak of so many endings? Because you had so many things that you were just holding on to that were keeping you out of your divine feminine, your divine masculine. They were throwing you out of whack. They were having you imbalanced because you were constantly answering to the needs and the call of other people, right? And so that is where you were. And that's honestly how you lived a lot of your life. Do you see all of this? This describes so clearly to me what it was that was going on. But the thing is that there was a call for short-term destruction. The universe needed to destroy all of those situations for you because you weren't doing it. You didn't want to face that. You didn't want to be the villain in other people's stories. You also genuinely cared about some of the people and situations that you were in, and you did not want to hurt them in wanting better for yourself. Like, you knew that wanting better for yourself would mean to leave them behind. And so the universe had to destroy it without your permission, without your consent. But it knew that it would not take as long as what you were thinking it would. Think about it this way. Some of you have probably been dealing with these situations or the aftermath or the repercussions of these situations for probably a year. But can you imagine like 1 year, like I'm 28, 1 year out of 28 years that I have to deal with this, and now I finally get to feel better. I get to do better. I get to be better. And all that to say that the universe did protect you. There's a lot of things that it removed from your life because down the road, it would have been so much more of a bigger loss. And that is what it has been almost shielding from you this whole time. The universe has been hiding that from you because it knew that if you knew what was going on, you would be too empathetic for other people. You would think about other people too much, or then you would say, instead of being in the moment and healing through this tower moment, through this destruction, instead of sitting in the moment and healing, you would have then went, well, then what's next? What's coming to make up for this? But the universe needed you to kind of be bottom of the barrel for a minute and be like, I don't know if anything's ever going to make up for this. This might be my new reality. Now you're finally where the universe wants you to be, and so now I'm allowed to tell you this. And it's very specific that I'm allowed to tell you this. It's almost like you were not allowed to know this up to this point, because that would have shifted your thinking. That would have shifted the way you were processing this information. But guess what? You're done. This is the moment that you have literally been building up to. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment that you've been waiting for. Gentle people, this is the moment that you've been waiting for. You've been building up to this moment right now. And now we're about to dive into it. And I want to highlight for a second these 4 cards that were in my hand. These were in the plethora of cards I was just holding. And you have the Emperor reverse, the Empress reverse, the Knight of Pentacles, and then the Three of Swords reverse. And just listen out there for any of you that know anything about tarot. But basically, what this is saying is that, like, you were a knight, you were a soldier in other people's armies. You were such a protector over so many people. But the thing is that you're not meant to be a knight. You're meant to be an emperor or empress. Plain and simple. And you were not allowed to acquire that energy. You were not allowed to step into that energy while you were being somebody else's knight. And that's what the universe removed you from. You had to accept that some of these people were not meant to be, whether it was romantic, whether it was familial, whether it was platonic, like they were not meant to be. They were not meant to be a heart. Instead, they stabbed you in it. So the universe had to remove them from your life. And if you think for a second, too, that the universe is just letting people get away with wronging you. It's just letting people get away with watching you pick through scraps and have to go through the trash while they were sitting on their thrones of luxury. If you think that they're going to let them get away with that, no. The universe has been keeping tabs. The universe has been watching and judging. Right now, it's like all of us have been being judged. Like, how are we going to act? Are we going to accept the reality that we're in and try to make the best out of the situation? Are we going to act on optimism? Are we going to act on empathy, on forgiveness? Are we going to set boundaries and respect those boundaries? We're going to treat ourselves with respect, or are we going to claw over other people? Are we going to destroy other people? Are we going to treat ourselves with disrespect? Are we going to be mean to ourselves? It's like the universe has been judging that, testing that, seeing what you're doing with this. I also have a very strong feeling, and I've said this several times before too in other videos, I feel like this has to do with something about the placement of Saturn, like how Saturn has been moving across the sky. So look at where Saturn is in your chart, see if that relates to what you've been through over the past few years. But yeah, I feel like moving forward, you're about to see a lot of justice come to pass because you're ready to see it. Like, you're in the place now where when it happens, you're not going to have vengeance. Like, vengeance was not yours to take, and you're not going to be like, haha, yeah, that's what they get. You're probably going to be like, you may even have a moment of celebration where you're like, well, if the shoe fits, you know what I'm saying? Like, or if the punishment fits, but you're not going to sit there and revel in it. You're not going to sit there and be like, wow, ha 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 ha, and like scream it from the mountaintops. You're about to just say, well, you know, like, I hate it for them. And you may even have empathy for them. But you also, something about this journey has been like balancing empathy with balancing boundaries. Like, can you give enough of yourself to that person without destroying yourself? If not, then they can't have any of you. Like, will they take, if you give them a centimeter, will they take a mile? Or if you try to give a centimeter, will you automatically give a mile because that's who you are? And if so, then you're not meant to be around them. So you can love them and pray for them from afar, but they're not meant to, whether it's a person, a situation, a career, a group, they're not meant to be in your vicinity. And I think that's the point that you've been getting to, is that a big transformation, a big change has to happen all around. And by the time, even if they did change to where they then could deserve to be around you, by that point, would you two even click around each other? You know, like, would you fit in with that group? Would you fit in with that career? So much has changed, but the universe has been watching, and it's been watching who has handled that change with grace, who has handled that change purposefully, and made it their mission to be better and do better. And some of you hit a really low point during this too, then that's what the universe was observing, is like, you got to a point where you literally like felt like you had to pour out, like, here's all my dreams, let's just throw them down the toilet. Here's all of my hopes and all of the things that I wanted out of life, let's just throw those out the window. Like, you got to such a dark point where you were like, I'm not gonna get anything that I wanted out of life. With the route that I was on, the place that I was planning to be at, it's not conceivable now. It's not possible. But somewhere in that darkness, somewhere in the place where you abandoned all hope, you then realized why you were in the situation you're in, how much of yourself you gave away to other people that made it to where that was not a possibility for you anymore, or how many people you were relying on because they were able to rely on you so many times, how many people you relied on to help you get there because you helped them and then they weren't there. And see, because you're now in this place of understanding and acceptance and saying, you know what, I'm going to be self-reliant. Like, I've got me. No matter where I end up, I've got me. That is why you're now aligned. That is now why things are working out for you. Because you had to go through that in order to be where you are so you could have the thing that you want. I'm saying this very intentionally. You are now in the moment. It's not coming soon. You are now in the moment where you are being shoved out of hermit mode, out of self-isolation, out of quiet healing. You've gotten so used to being able to sit in the silence. It's time now to get out of that. And you are being ejected into prosperity, into community, into stability in a way that you never have before. All the confusion that you were facing is now done. It's been whirling around you until it's finally stopped. The universe just had to narrow down your options to the ones that were the most harmonious for your life. And that's also part of what this process has been. But now you're in a place where you can step forward with confidence and stability, and no matter what anxiety or doubt creeps in, you know deep within yourself that you are headed to a brighter, happier place.